I'm Sasha Annewald, and I am the Director of Arts Journalism Programs at USC Annenberg School for Communication. I also direct the NEA Arts Journalism Institute in Theater and Musical Theater. And the NEA is a major sponsor of this, the first ever National Summit on Arts Journalism. I welcome you to the summit, you who are at home, you who are at work, you who are watching this in gatherings around big or small screens, at school, or in a museum, or cultural institute, in a gymnasium, or a community center. And I welcome the many of you here in Annenberg Auditorium at USC. Thank you for coming.
And I'm Doug McLennan. I'm the editor of artsjournal.com and the acting director of the National Arts Journalism Program. Together, Sasha and I are the co-directors of this event. And before we start, I want to give a special shout out to Jackie Kane, who's the executive producer of all of this and has helped us get us here.
Back to the audience for a moment. Audience, the word, the notion, the idea is in a state of redefinition in this digital age, both for artists and for journalists. But we know an audience of over 200 people is here in the basement of the Annenberg School in our auditorium. We know that there are 17 live satellite gatherings in places as far away as the Republic of Moldova and New York City, Boston, the University of Missouri, and Kennewick in eastern Washington state. We're streaming live at najp.org/summit, and we have dozens of blogs around the internet carrying the webcast stream live, including bloggers in Kenya, Brazil, and the UK. Oh, we're also going to archive everything you see today, and it will be available also at najp.org/summit.
So we've been praying desperately to the technology gods to make this all work. And just a few minutes, actually, before we went live today, you're probably noticing that we are about 5 minutes late in starting. We had this awful thing happen where the Ustream feed that was carrying it actually went down for a little bit. So we're hoping that for the rest of the morning, no other problems like that will happen. We do mean for this to be an interactive event. We want to hear from you out on the web and actually here in the hall as well. So we have a Twitter feed with a hashtag ArtsJ09, very inventive. We have a chat box underneath the video stream. And we have three bloggers blogging at najp.org/articles. Our presenters, the projects that you'll see this morning, are also on the Twitter feed. And so one of the great things about pre-recording these presentations that you're going to see is that the presenters themselves are either here in the house, a couple of them I believe, or wherever it is that they are, but they're on Twitter, and you can ask them questions, and they may respond. So be very kind to them, okay? But we will be monitoring the Twitter feed, and we're very fortunate to have Nihar Patel and Jacqueline Howard over here, who are going to be watching all of the various social media and pulling out what they think are the more interesting comments. And we'll be going back and forth to Nihar and Jacqueline over the course of the morning to check in to see what's happening online. Again, as I said, this is a really ambitious event. There are all sorts of things going on. A lot of things have to work to make this work right. Well, one of the revolutions here that we're going to talk about a little bit this morning is that the tools that we use to get the word out to people, and that's actually what we're talking about for arts journalism, the tools have become either free or so cheap that everybody can have their own TV station, anybody can have their own printing press. We're all broadcasting to the world. So we've made a conscious choice in this event to use as many free tools as we can. So the quality may be, I mean, it'll be good enough. But the whole point is to show that this is something that is possible for anybody.
So I'm going to tell you a little bit more about how this is going to work and how the summit is going to unfold over the next couple of hours. What you're going to see is 10 presenters. You'll see 10 presenters, 10 projects. These presenters came to Los Angeles starting about a month and a half ago, and they were interviewed and recorded by us. Doug did the interviewing, and then an exceptional team, really amazing team at the Institute for Multimedia Literacy, headed by Gabe Peters-Lazaro and Anna Shepard, took the recordings and worked their magic, and heavy emphasis on work. They worked hard. They were immensely creative and ingenious in how they handled these interviews to create what we think are some pretty compelling multimedia presentations. We're also going to present 2 live conversations, one on the evolving art of arts journalism and the other on the business of arts journalism, the reinventing business of arts journalism. Our aim is really not to tell you what's next for arts journalism, but to raise some questions and to highlight some of the serious issues that exist out there and really to provoke some vigorous conversation. Because if journalism is going to evolve, we figured everybody better get together, not only in one room, but obviously across the nation and across the world, and start to talk about some of the same things and also see some of the same things. When you look at the 10 presentations that we're going to show you, behind each one of those 10 is really another 10 and almost another 10 who are doing really serious, interesting work. So when you look at the 10 of them, I think what is also, it's to trigger you to go further in depth on the web and start prowling around and see what's out there. There are arts journalists, there are artists, and there are arts organizations doing some amazing things because they care about bringing the arts to light. So the gathering that we're in right now, all over the place, is not to lament what we're losing, but to push forward and to look, really look, to listen, really listen, and try to find the present here that predicts the future that's really exciting and possible. Now, we're going to hear a word from our Dean Ernest Wilson, who is the Dean of USC Annenberg School for Communication, and he gets it.